Hey there everyone, as promised, I have literally taken 5 seconds of a break from my last post, and I am now going to share with you another random quote of wisdom from a random page in this book. By perseverance the snail reached the ark. C.H. Spurgeon. Now, I've been really lucky because literally my finger landed like right here. You probably can't see that, but it's basically like barely was in the area I would consider that to be the quote selected, and it was either that or a fairly long quote. And I kind of pray every time that I don't read the long quotes because then I have a lot to say because it's a lot of quote to go over, and it becomes kind of difficult to get everything through and make sure I keep my thoughts in order. But enough said on that. So, C.H. Spurgeon, by perseverance the snail reached the ark. And obviously this is an allusion to the biblical story of Noah and the ark which survived the flood of God. And I actually think it's a pretty astute observation to make how, naturally the animals boarded, for those unaware in the biblical story of Noah, the animals started boarding the ark as it started to rain. The ark was finished and everything was ready, but it was go time. So it's a very acute and very astute observation to make how the snail, widely regarded to be one of the slowest land creatures on all of Earth, actually did manage to reach the ark to survive and go on. And I should note, as I have in previous videos, that the section or the chapter that this quote comes from is on quotes of determination. Ergo explaining its focus on perseverance. And perseverance is a highly envious personality trait. I do not know many people with a high degree of perseverance. I know some. I know a few, but I don't know many. And those that I do know with perseverance are exceptional, we'll say. They are exceptions. And what makes perseverance so rare, I think, and so sought after, is the fact that it is, of all the virtuous aspects of a person, the most difficult to maintain. Specifically because perseverance requires so many other personality traits to exist. It requires hope. It requires dedication, which is different from perseverance. Perseverance is the... how do I word it? Perseverance is sticking to something through thick and thin. Dedication is the drive to stick to something through thick and thin. Dedication is the trait. Perseverance is the action, but it's still a trait, if that makes sense. It is an action trait. An adverb, I guess. I need to brush up on my linguistics, but... And in addition to hope and dedication, hope, of course, being the belief that it will turn out alright, or it has the potential to turn out alright, in addition to hope and dedication, you also need passion to have perseverance, or at least the capacity to generate passion, to feign passion. Because passion is, of course, the drive to do something to begin with, and if you lack passion, then you cannot persevere. But kind of the unique aspect of perseverance, what makes it more than the sum of its parts, what you have all these traits, but what you also need in addition to those, is that perseverance requires a crucible. It requires there to be something to persevere through. I can be dedicated to something easy. I'm dedicated to making these videos, and that's really easy. I just sit here with a book and I read something from the book, and then I talk about it, and that's really easy for me. I talk a lot as it is. Like, you could give me 3 words to ponder about, I will ponder for hours, and I will talk for days. But that's not really perseverance. I'm not really persevering. I'm dedicated, but I'm not persevering. And the thing is, it's a matter of how much effort you have to put in to maintain your dedication. You can be dedicated to a weight loss regimen. You can be dedicated to becoming fit. You can become dedicated to your academics, to getting the grades. But that doesn't really amount to much if you don't persevere. If you are dedicated to getting the grades, then you could just take all easy courses, very, very unchallenging curriculum, and just sail on through. If you're dedicated to getting in shape, then you could devote yourself to a very light, very simple regimen that's mostly diet and a bit of activity. That's mostly meant not so much to get you active and at the peak of fitness, but rather just in shape. Perseverance is taking it to the next level, because you see, you persevere in academics when you take difficult courses, and despite the difficulty of these courses, maintain the dedication to academic excellence. In athletics, to go along with the examples I set forth, you are persevering when you have committed yourself to, say, a sport. We'll go along with my own passion sport, distance running for track. Dedication would be running a mile every day. That'd be dedication. Perseverance would be pushing past that mile. I will never forget my first legitimate base run. For those who aren't aware, in distance running, the basic track practice amounts to your warm-up run, which is an easy mile, just a quick run mile, not much, not putting much into it, and then your base run, which is the actual run that helps build up your endurance, because when it comes to distance running, endurance is everything. I mean, it doesn't matter how fast you can run. If you can't run far, it doesn't amount to anything. So the base run is how you build up your endurance, and the goal is to generally be able to run 3 to 5 miles when it comes to distance track. Cross-country running is beyond that, and so for a while my base runs were about a mile and a half. And those weren't really base runs, they were more like startup runs, conditioning runs, extra warm-ups basically, to kind of help me get into the running experience, I guess is a way of wording it. My first base run was 2 miles, which of course is the least you can run and still consider to be a real base run, really. But it was a rainy day. It was a very rainy day, torrential downpour, and coach basically put me up with 2 of the more experienced runners. They were both cross runners, and he said, "All right, I want you guys to take this kid and take him on a particular circuit that we use that's about 2 miles, and help him through, help him out. If he slow down with it, make sure he gets back, and then I want you guys to go off and do another circuit for the rest of your base." And I look out there and it's torrential raining, and I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be terrible. And we get out there and we start running, and for those who are unaware, running is every sport has a culture, and running it's a very positive culture, and I think that's kind of the inverse of a lot of other sports, because a lot of other sports are very, very competitive. And I won't go so far as to call them negative cultures, but they are very hardcore, very competitive, and it is all about the win. Running, however, because there is no real victory, there's no winning, there's no points, it's all about the improvement of self, about the connection between runners. So we go out and we're in this torrential rain. I mean, within seconds we are dripping wet, and we go out on a run, and I'm with my running buddies, and we're going, and one of them drops out, and that was a disappointment to me. But I kept running with my other running buddy, who was actually a really close friend of mine, and we kept running, and he let me know like when we were at the 1 mile mark. So that was like basically my indication that said, this is where I would normally stop. And I kept going. I persevered, because at that point I was feeling kind of winded, feeling kind of spent, but I wasn't ready to quit yet. I wasn't done. Even though it was still torrentially raining, I wasn't done yet. We got to the 1.5 mile mark, which is an improvement over my usual runs. So, in and of that, I had made progress, but I still wasn't done. In fact, at that point, I took off my shirt because it was heavy with water. That's how much it was raining. My shirt was weighing me down with water. Now, it was it's kind of cold out, so I was running with an overshirt. So I took the overshirt off, not the undershirt. I didn't go skins all the way, but I slung the shirt over my shoulder so I wouldn't lose it. And we kept running, but I didn't have all that weight across my whole body now. And we kept running. And we got to the point where I could see the 2-mile mark, and it wasn't a physical mark or anything, but it was like I was told that this was the area that would be a 2-mile mark in the circuit. And the whole circuit's about 2.5 miles. So we get there, and I'm like, I am spent. Like I have pushed myself beyond my limit, and I am rapidly approaching my hard limit. Like, you got your soft limit where it's like you go there and you can be done. Or you can push yourself to your hard limit where you go there and there's nothing left to give. And I was reaching my hard limit. And I sprinted. I shouldn't say sprint, but I picked it up. Because I wanted, if not the full 2.5, I wanted to make the 2 mile. I wanted that. That is what I wanted. I would be content with the 2 mile. I would be happy to not get the 2.5 yet. But if I could double what I was used to doing, if I could do that much, if I could add on another mile, another full mile, I would be A-okay with that. So I started picking it up, and my running buddy was like blown away because he was expecting me to start dropping out. And I ran ahead, and I pushed myself, and I reached the 2-mile mark, and I went a little bit further, and I got to a bridge, and I slouched over onto the railing, and I was done. That was it. My running buddy caught up to me, and he's like trying to egg me on. He's trying to cheer me on, and I'm like, no. and I walked away. Like a rule of running is if you can't run no more, walk. Don't stop. Never stop. Stopping is what will kill you. You should at least walk. And I kept going, and I managed to walk back. And by the time that I walked back to the start, my running buddy had ran back from the rest of his circuit, because the rest of his circuit wasn't that much more. And we walk in, we see the coach there, and we talk to him, and he asks how it went, and I'm kind of with it, so my running buddy's kind of talking for me, and he says, "You want the whole 2 miles." And my coach says, "Really? Oh, good for you." I had never felt more pride in my entire time in track. Because, well, aside from the first day when I threw up on the track, but that's a long, weird story. I won't get into that right now. But I persevered. Through that rainy day, and through my exhaustion, and through it all, to accomplish something that I did not expect myself to accomplish when I started. And it reflected in the way that other people treated me. Because I was now starting to become a bona fide member of the track team. And I mean, there wasn't any discrimination against me or anything. I mean, I never felt like I wasn't, I never felt like I was made to feel like I wasn't a part of it, but I never internally felt like I was a part of it. I felt like I was not doing enough to be considered a member of the track team, even though everyone else considered me a member of the track team. But at that moment, I started feeling like I was. Like I had done enough to be a runner. And there was no other logical moment, because like I said, the first day of track was kind of a weird story, but that moment was a life changer for me. And it was because I persevered. Just the same way that the Snail, the slowest runner in existence, still managed to make it to the Ark, to survive for a new age, according to the biblical story. I managed to persevere through my soft limit, through the point at which I would normally quit, and well beyond it, to the exact limit at which I could not physically go on anymore. Because there's two different ways that you can end something, whether it's in theater, in music, in sports, anything. You can feel like you've done it. You can feel like you have completed your task. or you can feel like you have completed it wholly. You have taken everything that you are and you have left it on the stage, in the band room, in the choir room, in the audition room, on the field, on the track. You have taken your whole being and you have expended it. As opposed to simply completing the task, you have completed it and you have done everything to complete it. I personally do not feel like I have successfully completed a task until I feel like I have left everything. And that day was the first time I felt like I left everything. And that is a very, very satisfying feeling. So, moral of the story. The snail, by dedication, could have made its way to the ark. But by perseverance, it made it to the ark. That's the difference. By dedication, I ran. By perseverance, I ran farther than I ever thought I would. And it was only 2 miles. Like, I understand, 2 miles isn't that much when it comes to distance runners. I mean, especially when you compare it to cross country. I mean, cross runners run easily 5 times that much. But 2 miles was more than like when I started track season, I did not expect myself to stay in it and do enough to run 2 miles consecutively. And there's no greater feeling than reaching that limit again and again and again. So, as with every random quote, you have homework. My challenge to you, not the ephemeral audience, but you personally, insert name here. Find something. Find a limit of yours. Find a line in your sand. Something that you do not think that you are quite capable of. Or that you feel others don't feel you're capable of. And persevere to break that limit. Get the A. Or run the extra mile. Or do the performance that you never thought you would do. Write a story. Write the short story. Write a collection of short stories. Write a novel. I mean, NaNoWriMo is coming to an end, but that doesn't mean you can't write a novel. Find a limit. Find something that you would love to do, but there's that voice in your head that says, I don't really think I can do that. And then prove it wrong. Persevere. Reach the ark. Because otherwise you'll just drown in the flood. Now then, what happens now? As always, that is up to you. Thank you for watching. Please, if you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like what I do. Check out the links to my social media in the description. As I said, never mind. I'm not going to advertise all this time. You can find the description yourself. Have a good one.